right, so today we're diving into something that's gotten the internet talking a lot lately.
Yeah, really taking over the conversation.
The Fresh and Fit podcast controversy.
Lots to unpack with this one.
It definitely is.
Yeah, and it really brings up
Like, where's the line?
so many questions about free speech.
With online platforms,
Content creators.
all that coming from one episode.
That's right, one podcast episode.
That's right.
And we've got this article here from Atlanta Black Star that goes into it.
It really details it all out.
All the events, but then also, like, what happened after.
The fallout?
The fallout? Yeah, exactly.
And violence?
Yeah, the silence from the hosts themselves is really interesting.
It's telling.
It's telling.
About a trend we see online.
For sure.
With these figures that thrive on
controversy.
Controversy, yes.
Even when it's harmful.
Exactly.
Maybe we should back up a bit, though.
Yeah, for those who don't know.
For those who don't know, Fresh and Fit.
Who are they?
Myron Fit Games and Walter Fresh Weeks. They're the hosts.
Yeah.
Started in 2020.
Yeah, back in 2020. They've been around for a minute now.
And they got big.
Huge following, like almost 1.5 million on YouTube.
Yeah, they built this audience.
But it's always been provocative.
Oh, yeah. Their discussions on race and gender.
Yeah, some might say.
Provocative, might be putting it lightly.
Right.
It's been called misogynistic.
Racially insensitive.
All that.
And then YouTube actually demonetized them last year.
Yeah, for inciting violence.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
So then they went to Castle Club.
Yeah, we've been hearing about that platform a lot lately.
Castle Club, that's where it all went down.
Less oversight.
Way less moderation. So I'm curious, do you think that move played a role in what happened?
I think it's definitely worth considering.
Yeah.
Because when you take away those guardrails... The moderation, yeah, it can embolden people.
To push it too far.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, and it happened very publicly.
Very publicly.
So let's get into it.
The episode in question.
This episode had singer Nia McKenzie as a guest.
Along with 3 other women.
They were talking about
Black people being racist.
Yeah, and McKenzie's reasons for voting for Kamala Harris.
And it got heated.
It got heated fast.
Yeah, the article and some clips online show that Gaines started using derogatory language.
Towards McKenzie.
Telling her to leave.
And then it went from verbal
to physical.
Yeah, involving show handlers and McKenzie.
That in itself is disturbing.
Really disturbing.
To see that kind of escalation.
But then there's more.
Oh, yeah, it gets worse.
Gaines is heard invoking Florida's Stand Your Ground law.
And using racial slurs.
Not just during the altercation.
But after.
Even when McKenzie says she's going to sue.
That adds a whole other layer to it.
It does.
Makes you question his intent.
Yeah.
What's really going on there?
And unsurprisingly,
there's been backlash.
A ton online.
People calling for the show to be canceled.
Accountability for Gaines.
But the hosts have been silent.
Complete.
Except for one tweet from Gaines promoting it as a fight.
It's jarring, the difference between that.
And the outcry from everyone else.
Right. It makes you wonder.
It does.
What's the strategy there?
Are they fueling the fire?
It's hard to say.
But it speaks to this larger issue.
Of online figures.
Who prioritize...
notoriety over...
engagement over decency.
Decency.
Right.
And that's really what we're trying to unpack here today.
It's a complex landscape.
It is.
For us as media consumers...
How do we navigate this?
How do we know what to trust?
Exactly who to listen to.
We need to be critical.
Think for ourselves.
Ask the right questions.
Yeah. Whose voices are we hearing?
What are their motivations?
And what are the consequences of what we're consuming?
That's the key.
Those are big questions.
They are.
But they're important.
They are.
This is bigger than just one episode.
This is about our social climate.
It's a reflection of us.
And we all shape it.
We all have a responsibility in this.
That's right.
And that's what makes this so fascinating to dive into.
Absolutely. And, you know, when we talk about responsibility, we got to talk about Castle Club.
Castle Club, right.
Their whole thing is no moderation.
Pretty much.
They've said it.
Free speech.
Oh.
Above all else.
But that brings up some tricky questions.
It does. Like,
where's the line?
Where do you draw that line?
Between free speech and protecting people. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Well, legally,
yeah.
Free speech mostly means the government can't censor you.
Okay.
But private platforms...
like Castle Club?
They can set their own rules.
So legally, they're fine.
Yeah.
But ethically... there's the question.
Well, they have some responsibility.
To prevent harm.
Especially after what happened.
On that episode, it's a tough one.
It is.
On one hand, you could say platforms should be neutral.
For all ideas.
Even offensive ones.
Okay.
But then on the other, no moderation.
Could lead to hate speech. Even violence.
Exactly.
And we've seen that happen.
On other platforms.
On no moderation.
They become breeding grounds.
They're the worst stuff.
It's a real concern.
And with Castle Club.
It's interesting because
their users
a lot of them
got banned from other places.
YouTube.
Exactly.
Thought the content there
already starts more extreme.
Right.
And that potential for harm just goes up.
It's like an echo chamber.
Of the most controversial voices.
And that affects things outside the platform, too.
Oh, yeah.
It spills over.
Into the rest of the internet.
It shapes the whole conversation.
Which brings us back to social media.
Social media's role in all this.
Right. It was social media that brought this to light.
Exposed it.
But at the same time,
yeah.
social media gives these figures a platform.
For the first place.
To spread their message.
Get attention.
It's a tough balance to strike.
It is.
We need to be smart about it.
Be critical.
Know who we're listening to.
I remember the article mentioned...
A lot of people were praising Nia McKenzie.
Absolute.
For her courage.
Standing up to that.
It's like she became a symbol.
Of resilience.
Even after everything.
She's going to speak out.
She is, and I think that's really powerful.
It is, to see that strength.
To speak up when it's hard.
We all have a voice.
And we can use it.
To challenge injustice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she is going to speak out.
Yeah, the article says she plans to address it publicly.
I bet a lot of people will want to hear what she has to say.
It's important for her to share her perspective.
It is.
Because what she went through, it connects to this bigger issue of misogynoir.
That's a term I've seen a lot lately.
Around this whole controversy.
Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. Misogynoir is, it's the specific discrimination that Black women face.
Because of both their race and gender.
Exactly. It's not the same as sexism against white women.
It's its own thing.
Right, because it's shaped by both those factors.
So in this case...
With McKenzie, she was facing sexist remarks.
Of course.
But those remarks, they were also tied to her race.
Using stereotypes and stuff.
Exactly.
So it's not just sexism,
it's how Black women are uniquely marginalized.
Targeted for who they are.
Right, and that's why her story is resonating with so many people.
Especially Black women.
Who've experienced similar things.
It shows these issues aren't just isolated incidents.
It's systemic.
Deeply rooted in our society.
Exactly, and even though it happened online...
This fresh and fit thing.
It reflects real-life challenges.
That Black women face every day.
It's important to remember that.
It is.
This isn't about two hosts or one podcast.
It's about the bigger picture.
The systems we need to dismantle.
That's a powerful point.
It is, and I hope listeners take that away from this.
From this deep dive.
Yeah, this incident.
As awful as it was.
It did spark a conversation.
About important stuff.
Race, gender responsibility.
What we can do to make things more equitable.
That's what it comes down to.
It does, and ultimately...
It's about using our voices.
To speak up against injustice.
Support those who are marginalized.
Hold people accountable.
Exactly.
There's still a lot of unanswered questions.
About this fresh and fit situation.
It's still unfolding.
It is, but I think the bigger question...
The one we should all be asking.
Is what can we do?
Each of us.
To create a better world.
One that's more respectful, more inclusive.
More equitable for everyone.
That's the goal.
That's what we should be working towards.
And we encourage everyone to keep following this story.
As it develops.
And to have these tough conversations.
As your friends, your family.
Your communities.
Because change starts with us.
It does. We all have a part to play.
By being informed, by thinking critically, by speaking up.
We can make a difference.
We can create that better world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a great discussion.
Until next time, keep asking questions, keep learning.
And keep pushing for a better tomorrow.